Everybody, Mike Zawodkowski here. I'm excited to share with you in a world where everybody has gone ChatGPT crazy. ChatGPT isn't the best tool for everything. Did you know that? There are some things that we have better tools for that we can use to solve specific problems. And I want to take a moment to walk you through this a little bit. I spent a lot of time in this space of having to advise clients about this and wanted to just share a little perspective. So, in my opinion, here are some problems that if you're looking to grab a tool off the shelf, maybe let's please don't grab ChatGPT or Gemini or any of those off the shelf, and I'll explain why. So let's say you are trying to do sales forecasts, or predict demand, or stock price, or even the weather. These are hard problems to solve. I heard an expert talk about how maybe in 100 years we'll be able to forecast what weather looks like, a month out. Um, Gen AI is not going to do it for these. One of the problems is that generative AI, it's designed to create an output that's plausible based off of patterns. It's not designed to give you a precise number. It's not designed to give you a precise prediction. It's not going to extrapolate trends accurately. It's going to hallucinate. It's generative. That's the whole point in it. If it's not grounded in real world data, it's going to make stuff up. It lacks the statistical rigor in order to give you a reliable forecast. It's just not built for this sort of explicit decision making or doing complex calculations. So, what do we use instead? So, here are some better tools. Traditional machine learning models, supervised learning, as well as statistical analysis tools, much better. Use those. Don't use ChatGPT. Getting on to classification, categorization, so detecting fraud, like credit card fraud, filtering spam, um, sensors at games and at airports, looking for terrorists, sentiment analysis, structured data, image classification. These things we don't want. We don't want to use ChatGPT for. So you can use an LLM for classification tasks, but it's quite overkill. It's quite computationally expensive. We have other tools. Also, it's not very transparent. So if you want to understand why it decided that grandma is a terrorist, it's really hard to look into the system and understand why it made that classification. So if you're looking to do high stakes classification and have explainability, GenAI's black box is maybe not a good solution. So here's some other ones that you should consider. We've got support vector machines and all these discriminative machine learning models, decision trees, naive Bayes. I love a good Bayesian model. If you want to get fancy and you got a lot of time and data on your hands, you can use something in the deep learning space like neural networks. Rules-based systems, they work great. You can you can get a lot of mileage and not spend as much money on tokens if you were to use one of these tools to solve a classification or categorization problem instead of ChatGPT. And moving on, we've got planning and optimization, operations research type things, supply chain, route planning, pricing, resource allocation, financial portfolio optimization. These are things that you again, like before, you need precise calculations. You have to adhere to strict constraints. You may have to find an optimal solution among a lot of different possibilities. Uh, Generative AI just isn't built for this. You need something that can do rigorous deterministic problem solving. Maybe it generates something plausible. So if you ask ChatGPT about this, it will give you an answer that will sound truthy, but it's not going to be efficient. It's not going to be feasible. It's not going to be correct. So instead, we should use these tools: linear programming, integer programming, heuristics, meta heuristics, reinforcement learning. There's simulation software on the market that you can run as well. Use these for planning and optimization, not generative AI. Moving on, we go to the high stakes decision making. So if you have to make a medical diagnosis, uh, if you're doing credit scoring, These have quite um, dire consequences if you screw it up. There's a great case study that I'm happy to share if anyone's interested about John Hopkins, like trying out all these different cool toys and realizing linear regression was the tool to use because they needed it to be explainable. And again, so we're running into this black box issue that we've talked about before. You you don't you don't want something to hallucinate, and when you have a tool that literally has the word generative in its term of generative AI, let's not maybe have it make up a medical diagnosis. It's probably a bad thing. Um, you need something that's not a black box. You need trust, you need accuracy, you know accountability is paramount. So generative AI, ChatGPT is unacceptable. These are much better tools for you to consider, even traditional ML models. I mean, even with all the Gen AI stuff, like, come on, like you don't have a human in the loop. Like a human in the loop is great. You should have it with all the stuff that you're building. Don't let the robots make all the decisions. Um, so moving on to autonomous systems. So you have something self-driving, a drone, submarine, a train. Um, these sort of things that are taking in real world sensor data and adapting to it. We're come on, like let's not use Gen AI for this. That would be ridiculous. You need something that's robust. It has to have low latency. It can't be calling to the mothership over at OpenAI and like thinking about it and giving you an answer one line at a time. It's got to make a decision about whether to stop at an intersection. You need something that's deterministic, that isn't going to have the occasional error that you'll get in ChatGPT. This is just not suitable for high risk environment. So no, like Gen AI is not the tool for this. Reinforcement learning, robotics algorithms, computer vision that doesn't generate. Like I know GANs are great at creating images. We're not going to use that here. Sensor fusion. So much better tools than ChatGPT for your robotics problems. Sound good? And then last but not least, probably my favorite, database querying, precise information retrieval. We get this request all the time where people are like, "Ah, I don't want to learn Looker or Tableau or insert whatever tool that takes a little bit of a learning curve to get data and metrics and something for decision making." And they're like, can't we just use like ChatGPT and just ask it and it'll tell us the answer instead of us having to like sift through the data? And you can. And what we'll actually do is put a layer that is a chat interface over a very strict universe that is, here's your three charts. And no matter what you choose, it's only going to 30, whatever, like a certain set number of charts that it gets displayed, and then we get to use ChatGPT for what it's really good at, which is to summarize that data. But what's under the hood is actually just the SQL queries or the tables that it's retrieving. So it looks like it's ChatGPT. It's not ChatGPT because ChatGPT is not good at this. Database querying, precise information retrieval. LLMs can interpret the natural language queries. We have robust database management systems. We've had them for decades. We should use those. Also, we should not use Gen AI to actually decide and struggle with complex joins, filters. We need it to guarantee 100% accuracy that you ask for this data point, it's giving you that data point, it's not making it up, which it has a tendency to do. So instead, we're just going to use a database with search engines, with knowledge graphs, with information extraction tools that we've had for many, many years, not ChatGPT. So that, in a nutshell, is my little review of all the things that you should not be using GenAI to do and some options of what you can use instead. I hope this was valuable. If it was, let me know. Comment, like, subscribe. And if you're interested in checking out our free community on School, I'll put a link in the description. Thank you so much.